Today, we're putting a Charles Dickens novel on trial. The book is Hard Times, his big 1854 critique of industrial society. But here's the thing. The case isn't just about whether it's good or bad. It's about how two absolutely brilliant literary minds can look at the exact same book and see a masterpiece and a complete failure. So let's dive in. I mean, seriously, how does that happen? On one side, you've got a top-tier critic calling it a profound work of genius. And on the other, a celebrated author calls it one of Dickens's worst. They read the same pages, the same characters, the same ending. So how on earth do they end up in completely different universes? Well, that's the mystery we're going to unravel today. All right, first up to the stand making the case for the masterpiece, we have the hugely influential 20th century critic F.R. Leavis. Now, Leavis looked at this book and saw something truly special, something that pretty much everyone else at the time had completely overlooked. Yeah, Leavis did not mess around. He called Hard Times not just a good book, but Dickens's greatest novel, a completely serious work of art. For him, this wasn't just another sprawling Victorian soap opera. No, it was a laser-focused, powerful, artistic statement. But to really get why he felt so strongly, we have to understand the rule book he was judging it by. And this right here, this is the absolute key to his whole argument. Leavis wasn't reading Hard Times like a regular novel, hoping for super realistic characters. He saw it as a moral fable. Think about it. In a fable, you're not there for a deep psychological profile of the tortoise. The characters and the story are all there to serve one big moral point. And for Leavis, that's exactly what this book was doing. So here's how his case breaks down. First, he said the book has this incredible poetic unity where every single word, every scene is working towards a central theme. That circus that some people found kind of silly? Leavis said it was a brilliant symbol of imagination and human spirit fighting against a cold, fact-obsessed world. For him, the most important thing wasn't how lifelike the story was, but its significance, its powerful critique of society. Okay, so that's the prosecution. Now let's hear from the other side. Making the case for the novel's total failure is the famous writer and critic J.B. Priestley. Priestley read the very same book and came away with a completely, and I mean scathingly different opinion. Wow, talk about a takedown. Where Leavis saw a serious work of art, Priestley just saw a bad novel. He flat out said it was the least worthwhile of all of Dickens's major works. What's fascinating is that the very things Leavis praised are exactly what Priestley pointed to as the book's biggest flaws. So you gotta ask, what were his rules? Priestley's argument is basically a perfect mirror image of Leavis's. That profound social critique? Priestley called it muddled propaganda, saying Dickens didn't really get the world he was trying to write about. The characters? Not powerful symbols. He called them nothing but caricatures. He felt the book was missing that wild, brilliant, chaotic energy that makes other Dickens novels so unforgettable. Because you see, at the end of the day, Priestley demanded realism, and for him, Hard Times just didn't feel real at all. So there we have it. Two experts, two totally opposite conclusions. Masterpiece versus failure. So what's the verdict? Who was right? Well, the truth is, the verdict isn't about picking a winner. It's about uncovering the real, hidden reason they were arguing in the first place. Because here's the big reveal. The fight was never really about Hard Times. It was about a much bigger, more fundamental question. What is art supposed to do? They weren't just judging a book, they were judging it using two completely different sets of expectations for what a great novel should even be. It really all boils down to this. Leavis came to the book wanting a moral fable, a beautiful, organized, poetic expression of a deep idea. But Priestley, he showed up wanting social realism. He wanted an authentic, gritty reflection of society as it really was. Once you see that they were basically looking for two different things, their totally opposite conclusions suddenly make perfect sense. They weren't even playing the same game. And when you lay their arguments side by side like this, the pattern is just undeniable. On artistic style, Leavis sees richly poetic art, Priestley sees a lock of Dickens's usual genius. On characterization, Leavis sees wholly convincing symbols. Priestley just sees caricatures. Every single point of conflict goes right back to their starting positions. Moral fable versus social realism. That's the whole story. So, why does any of this matter today? I mean, it's an old debate about an old book, but here's why it's so cool. This whole clash gives us a powerful tool for thinking critically about, well, pretty much everything. Not just books, but movies, music, TV shows, any kind of art that people have strong opinions about. It gives us this really practical 3-step method. So next time you hear a strong opinion, first, just identify the basic judgment. Is it good or is it bad? Easy. Step 2 is the detective work. Try to figure out their hidden rules. What are they valuing? Are they judging a silly comedy because it isn't a serious drama? Finally, step 3, you decide if you agree with their rules in the first place. And that is how you start forming your own really solid verdict. Because that's the big takeaway here. Understanding the why behind an opinion is way more interesting than the opinion itself. So the next time you read a review or hear someone's hot take, don't just agree or disagree. Ask yourself, what are the hidden rules they're playing by? And do I want to play by them too?